half a pork burrito if you want. Thank you. I found it. I was like, oh my gosh. Thanks.
Aloha. Welcome to the First Unitarian Church of Honolulu. We are our beloved community, boldly growing compassion, justice, and joy. Whether you are in person or online, we are glad that you are with us today. This is a time where I can welcome newcomers. So if you are visiting our congregation, maybe from afar, or you've wandered in for the first time, or the second or third time, and you feel like introducing yourself this morning, I invite you to stand up and tell us who you are, if you'd like. I know, I'm looking right at you. Welcome. What's your name? Jim. Jim. Nice to have you. Thanks for coming. Anyone else want to? No pressure. Well, thank you. Oh, somebody's pointing at somebody. Hi. Sorry. Hi, Cindy. Welcome back. Third or fourth time here. We're glad that you keep coming back. Hope that you will continue to do that. Yes.
Hi, I'm Leslie, and this is, I came for a political response, and
Okay.
I meant to come back.
Excellent. Welcome, Leslie. Thanks for coming back. Awesome. So great to see old and new faces. Everybody is welcome here. Let's see. My name, I'll introduce myself. I'm Crystal Leva. I'm your worship associate today. My pronouns are she, her, or they. And I have the honor of working with Reverend Sam Gibb Millspaugh and Samantha Wilson, Reverend Samantha Wilson, and of course Reverend Deborah Bondefson is also sitting up here this morning. This is a powerhouse of spiritual leadership, I have to say. So, for those of you who don't know, it's on your order of service. There's a picture of us. This was taken yesterday from a group that gathered to work on tending our history, and we had the great fortune of being led by such wonderful people to lead us through that. So they're going to tell us more about that today in some way, shape, or form, I'm sure. And maybe, Deborah, would you like to offer some lays, as is our tradition for new?
I just want to say a word of appreciation that we are all here and safe, and a word of much mahalo to these ladies who have been leading us through a deep spiritual process.
Yay, good morning. chalice lighting words from Dale Hudson. This is a house of reflection and contemplation, of joy and sorrow, of friendship, sharing, and laughter. We light this chalice in remembrance of what we have been and in the hope of what we might become. Amen. Let's come together by singing the best part of any day. I'm going to introduce to you a song. We're going to sing the song, Where Do We Come From? The lyrics of this song have a history. It's from the French title of a famous oil painting of Tahitian children, adults, and elders who were gathered together, and it was made by Paul Gauguin in 1898. And in the triptych, the first part of this painting is titled, Where Do We Come From? The second one, What Are We? And the third, Where Are We Going? So today I'm inviting you as you sing to think of whatever we feels most powerful for you. The we of our collective humanity, or the we of this congregation or community, or the we of your beloved family, or the we of the widest sense of belonging, all creatures, all beings on this gorgeous planet we call Earth. So where do we come from? What are we? And where are we going? So this song has 4 parts. There's another part, mystery. And we're going to sing the 4 parts simultaneously. So in a moment we'll sing through the song, all 4 lines together as one, and then we're going to split into 4 parts. And here's how it's going to work. The first part will be this group over here, and I will lead you. And you'll just keep singing line number 1, Where Do We Come From? And then Crystal's going to stand in front of this group, and they're going to sing what are that's right. They're going to do different tunes. They're going to sing a different tune. And then the choir's going to sing the 3rd version. And then Reverend Sam and Reverend Sarah are going to do the 4th version of the show. Okay? So let's give it a shot. We've got the 4. You know, you're 1, 2, 3, and 4. All right, let's do it.
We gather to worship, our hearts alive with hope that here we will be truly seen, that here we will be welcomed into the garden of this community, where the simple and the elegant, the fluted and the frilled, the shy and the dramatic complement one another and are treasured. May we know that here each contributes in their way to the beauty of the whole. Come, let us worship together all genders, sexualities, politics, clappers and non-clappers, progressive or conservative. May we root ourselves in the values of this faith: compassion and courage, transcendence, justice, transformation, and compassion, justice, and joy. May it be so. May it be so. This church is a place where we experience the depth of life together. And this is a book that stands for the lives that we share in our beloved community. This is our book of life. Some of us share our joys and concerns in this book, and others see the book and know that this is a safe place to share your joys and concerns. And you might share them informally in the gallery during coffee hour, or you might share them very deeply and intensely during a workshop with wise leaders from afar and our own Reverend Deborah Von Upson. But there's many ways to share our lives together. So we're going to take a look and see what's in here today. And as I find the spot, I'm going to know that we've had a lot of rain and wind, and there's been flooding and landslides, and we hear about things on the news that's happening to people, but there's stuff happening to people in this room. And one of the concerns, it's both a joy and a concern, is that our own Thomas Cranford and his daughters, Hazel and Coraline, have been displaced because of this storm. They are safe. They have a place to stay. They're here in our church. The sorrow is that they've lost almost everything. That's big. I guess I'm mixing our joys and concerns today because it's both, right? So let's think of that concern and just hold that for a second in your heart. If you have a concern of your own that you could share in one word or one phrase, I just invite you to say that concern or sorrow right now. There's also some joy. The rain has subsided, and Dan Carpenter reports that their gate opener is working again. Only one wave over the sand dune in front of their house. So close call, but they're good, and that is a joy. I would say it's also such a great joy to have our friends here with us today. It's been great. So let's hold joy together for a moment. Think of the things that bring you joy. Oh, sorry. Oh, gosh, Harmony, I'm so sorry. I thought this was part of last week. Sorry.
The
Harmony has
monitor,
learned that her
is
cousin,
it working
she's
that
very
the
close to,
pulpit looks at?
Oh,
It's
okay.
black.
Has a
Okay.
previously unknown type of cancer with no treatment after looking hard to find one. She's now in hospice in Maryland, and Harmony and David are going there to visit Harmony. I'm so sorry for that. It's big we can just take a moment to recall our joys and our sorrows, the bitterness, the sweetness, the concerns and joys of life remind us to live these days together. The brave adventure and the holy understanding that we share in this journey echo today, as they always do in the book of life, and in the hearts that we bring to share here today, and may it always be so. I invite us now to sing our hymn of the month, which is We Will Rise Together. Rise together. Pretty cool. In the midst of so much suffering in our world, we here are fortunate to be able to provide some relief. It is a privilege to give our whole offering today and every Sunday to people and causes who benefit from our loving concern. And this month we are still supporting ACLU. The American Civil Liberties Union is a nonprofit organization known for defending individual rights and liberties guaranteed to us by the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. It acts through legislation, lobbying, and education to protect free speech, voting rights, reproductive freedom, LGBTQ+ rights, immigrant rights, and to end mass incarceration. Often, they are representing unpopular clients to ensure equal protection. When the calabash comes by, please help them achieve their goals with your generosity. You can always send a text to that number up there, look at the QR code, put a check in the calabash. There's lots of ways to give. And I think your order of service has them on there as well. So without further ado, may we take our morning offering, let us give freely and receive with great gratitude.
great words for you. This is the Seven of Pentacles by Marge Piercy. She is an American poet and novelist who turns 90 years old in 9 days. She was born in Detroit during the Great Depression to working class Jewish and Presbyterian parents. And she became a prominent poet, feminist, and anti-war activist beginning in the 1970s and continuing through today. So this poem of hers came out in 1982. Under a sky the color of pea soup, she is looking at her work growing away there actively, thickly like grapevines or pole beans, as things grow in the real world slowly enough. If you tend them properly, if you mulch, if you water, if you provide birds that eat insects a home and winter food, if the sun shines, and if you pick up caterpillars, and if the praying mantis comes and the ladybugs and the bees, then plants flourish. But at their own internal clock. Connections are made slowly. Sometimes they grow underground. You cannot tell always by looking what is happening. More than half the tree is spread out in the soil under your feet. Penetrate quietly as the earthworm that blows no trumpet. Fight persistently as the creeper that brings down the tree. Spread like the squash plant that overruns your garden. And gnaw in the dark and use the sun to make sugar. Weave real connections. Create real nodes. Build real houses. Live a life you can endure. Make love that is loving. Keep tangling and interweaving and taking even more in. A thicket and bramble wilderness to the outside, but to us, interconnected with rabbit runs and burrows and lairs. Live as if you liked yourself, and it may happen. Reach out, keep reaching out, keep bringing in. This is how we are going to live for a long time. Not always. For every gardener knows that after the digging, after the planting, after the long season of tending and growth, the harvest comes. Ashe.
It is so good to see you and to be here on Oahu with you once again. You are beautiful people. I have been so privileged to share in your journey as a tender-hearted, justice-rooted, deeply interconnected, rabbit-run-filled congregation filled with hope on this journey. Reverend Samantha and I have been accompanying you on an intentional transformation since the fall of 2024, a journey called Hope for Us, led by your own people in partnership with me and Sam and now Reverend Deborah. This process has been transforming the ways that you approach conflict together, the ways you make decisions collectively, the ways you discern your direction, and this weekend, the ways that you tend in your history. in the answers. We turned it into one of 7 goals. So we're like 7 sort of big themes. And we turned them into these goals of sorts, these action possibilities for our work together. Here's how we phrased the history one then. Tending and integrating our history towards meaning and healing. We wrote, this is a composting process. What can our history teach us about our pain points, our challenges, our tendencies, and our patterns as a congregation? And when we know our history and have learned from it, we are able to act more wisely and less rashly. There's a bird that just flew in. Hello, bird. Oh, goodbye, bird. Flew out. We can be conscious of our problem dynamics and approach one another with care, and we also become more trustworthy to new people who join in the lineage of our community. And that process has been going on, and my goodness, we came up with this together during a rough time in the congregation's own history, a tough transitional time, and just a week or two after the 2024 presidential election, where someone who never learns from history was brought back into power. Since then, we've experienced such trauma nationally and worldwide from what happens when the lessons of history are disregarded, along, of course, with the lessons of our interconnectedness and our human sacredness. And what happens when history gets rewritten in order to be convenient to the powerful. It is not good. But in this moment, personal, political, and congregation-wide, I wonder with us, and I invite you to wonder with me, what do we gain from tending our own history in order to access that deeper knowledge of ourselves and our communities, in order to be wiser and kinder, more just, more loving, and I'll add, to resist the histories that others are trying to force on us. When I first had a compost pile in my yard, I thought I could just throw in all the food scraps and the yard clippings, and then it would just turn into lush soil. I remember my disappointment one spring after a long winter of putting stuff in my compost pile diligently. The thaw came and I saw that nothing that I had thrown in had actually decayed or turned to compost, just a pile of mush. But then I did some research about how to manage compost, and I learned that you have to tend it. You have to turn it. You have to give it some light and some air, some water. You have to pay attention to what you've already thrown in there, so you don't have too much green matter or too much brown matter. Learning how to tend a compost pile has actually taught me some lessons about how we learn from our past. In our compost of the past, we have all kinds of things. We have blossoms, like the happy memories, the people that we love, our joys and things that we're proud of, things that were bright and shiny green. And we also have garbage, the unhealed wounds, the forever broken relationships, the harm we've caused, so much more of the sort of crap that gets part of life. But the good news is that with proper tending, this can turn into incredibly fertile soil for our future. Yesterday, we were engaged in this process of 30 people from this congregation were engaged in this process of tending our history from the first 45 years of the First Unitarian Church of Honolulu. And there are bits of that compost. I took notes on little sheets of paper. I put them around the sanctuary. So if you have one near you, can you look at it and read it out loud to your neighbors and share? And Reverend Sam is going to come around soon after you do a little bit of sharing and pass them toward the center aisle or the edge of your seats if you're not in that row, in the main rows. And Sam will collect them. We're going to do a little composting of these things. Bridges doesn't leave. That was a particular minister who was here. And then after departing in 1970 or 71, he stayed on the island and he organized his own alternative humanist group that met at 10 o'clock on Sunday morning to compete with the church service that he used to run. Yeah. But in many ways, there were good things about the man too. So, we composted, right? Other things. Need a liberal church. Yeah, this need. Part of the origin story of the congregation is a need for a liberal congregation on this island. When the congregation first got started, there were many mainline Protestant congregations. And I'm not sure about how many Jewish or Muslim or Buddhist congregations there were at that time or any other faith, but what I gather from the history is that there were a lot of mainline Protestant congregations that were not as liberal as they are today, like United Church of Christ and such, and there was a real need for a kind of a congregation that was more inclusive in theology and outlook and had room for agnosticism and even like humanism that doesn't necessarily believe in a God and all of those things. So all of these pieces, the history, the difficult things, some of the pain. There was a split over the war in Vietnam. There were people who violated boundaries in serious ways, who were ministers and some members. There were ways that the congregation experienced financial devastation and then financial resurrection over and over and over again. And all of this becomes part of the history to tend. And when we do it in an intentional way, like people did yesterday with the 30 people who came, and there's going to be a follow-up with the rest of the history in May with Reverend Sam, but we together were turning this compost, recognizing and giving air, giving light, giving water, and just holding gently all of these different stories so that we can see what emerges from them as we turn them, like the compost, turning into rich soil for the future. So one of the things that helps us as we do this, there's an author, Chimamanda, I'm sorry, I'm not remembering her last name. She's a Nigerian author. She writes There's the Dangers of a Single Story. And there's no single story that emerges. Diversity of perspective, diversity of experience, diversity is an asset in developing our collective story of us, our collective story of what we can be through. People had very different perspectives yesterday, and whatever you do in the future, and in this community abroad, people have a variety of experiences and identities and standpoints, just where they were in relation to a story that shape how we can be. And the way we tell our story and what emerges comes from us listening deeply to one another across difference and speaking and being heard. Not just speaking and being agreed with, but speaking and being heard. And then that energy begins to transform and we learn from one another. The way we connect with one another changes, and that sets the ground for that wisdom to emerge. What did we learn together from that hard experience? What values have we learned that we cherish? What promises do we want to make? But then there's another thing. Although diversity is good for compost, not everything belongs there. Sometimes we have to lift up things in our history that we do not. We want to take it out of the compost pile because it is going to get in the way of the processing that needs to happen. In a backyard compost pile, meats and fats, animal excrement, plastic forks, banana stickers. Each of those things has its place in the world, but it's not in the compost. Likewise, a healthy congregational community has some boundaries on what kind of behavior is acceptable and not acceptable, right? We're trying to live our values. We want to be able to show those values to people and not have them contradicted by our actions. So that was a theme yesterday, times in the past when the destructive behavior of individuals caused harm to the greater whole. And it's really hard to do that tender and vulnerable work of deep listening and healing and just, being here for ourselves and growing and nurturing and connecting. It's really hard to do that when people are behaving in ways that are destructive. So developing a covenant for how we'll be together, how we'll hold one another accountable is important. And also having clear expectations for staff and ministerial conduct. They help the congregation stay attentive to the safety of the space, creating a healthier chemistry among the people and deepening trust. Some of the wisdom that emerges. And then related to boundary setting is the third thing that we can learn from composting, and that's how we hold people. To hold the community, not too tightly, right? If you put the compost in a really tight container, it doesn't work. But you also don't want to hold it too loosely either. If it's just like a, flat pancake of a compost pile, it's also not going to work if it's spread too thin. So to do the transformative healing work of a congregation, even just changing our lives, let alone changing our congregational system, we need to have the space to give people enough space we need to give people enough space to be their authentic selves and their independent selves, but also be close enough to express a collective and interdependent identity. Close enough for there to be a we, and far enough apart to still have an I. We have to have our own stories, and we together have a story. And we need to have room for others to join us and help us write that story. The way we hold each other in mutual support, close enough, but always making space for new folks. This is foundational to the work of transformation. And then there is that regular work, that garden sort of work that Samantha was reading so beautifully in Marge Percy's poem. The work of turning the compost, stirring it regularly with a pitchfork, not just once a year, maybe once a week, in order for us to do that transformation. So we have to keep turning over these memories, events, experiences in our heads, talking and listening with others, telling our story until we understand the experience in a new and empowering way, noticing and claiming our own parts in the messes of the past, and gaining insight into how we might do things differently in the future. The ways that the team's Hope and Reverend Sam have guided us, the speaking from the heart, the deep listening. These help First Unitarian gain healing and wisdom and empowerment for the future, and help each of us be able to bring that to the many other contexts in which we live our lives. This is the process of congregational emotional composting. From the garbage, from even the absolutely crappy events of life, positive growth can occur. You have so many good things here and so much yet to emerge from this fertile compost of the Unitarian Universalist Church of Honolulu. And in that composted soil, blossoms of empathy, courage, strength, relationship, spirituality, and the vines of new possibility are growing. And when we do this, we more deeply understand the story of us. In Braving the Wilderness, Brene Brown shares with us the good news about tending even the painful parts of our history, individually and collectively. She says, when you confront that original pain, you are able to find the courage to own the pain. And when you own the pain, it becomes part of your story. When it's your story, you have control. When it's your story, you're able to own that gem of wisdom that you gained from an otherwise rotten experience. When it's your story, you're able to claim your own mistakes and take steps to address them. When it's your story, you're able to find more empathy, more compassion for all involved. When it's your story, it is yours. And it's part of the beauty that you have to offer the world. Some of you know that this is my final visit to you as your regional staffer. I'll still be in relationship with you until July 3rd, when I conclude what a meaningful part of my ministry with the region you have been. Getting to know you, meeting you at in person for the first time at a tender time. I met you during COVID online, and it wasn't as tender, but it was, you know, there were some major challenges during my first visit with you here in 2022. And just being able to be your companion, to be your sometimes coach, to be your constant cheerleader through these times has been very meaningful. I believe in you. I believe in you as the individuals I've gotten to know and as the congregation that I now know so well. And I believe in your process of composting, what you have had to turn over and let go of, what you've had to revisit and make new meaning of. I feel privileged to be part of it. And what I've learned from you is going to carry. I'm going to carry it with me through my future ministries. I know that. I say goodbye to with hopes that First Unitarian will bring some of the institutional trust that you've built with me and with Sam into a place of new growth for the person who becomes your new partner from the UUA regional staff. I love you, First Unitarian Church of Honolulu. Mahalo for sharing yourselves and your journey with me. The meditation that is separate on the program is actually this, so it already happened. So let us join in singing hymn number 123, Spirit of Life. Rise in body or in spirit. We will extinguish our chalice before we attend to the last few little things. These are words by James Galansinki. Anyway, our faith, like a light, illuminates the path before us so that we can face hurt with love, cultivate compassion, live humbly in community, and confront despair with the awe of life. Though our flame is extinguished, our faith shines bright before us. Okay, I have some announcements. Immediately following this service, we hope that you will join us to chat and have refreshments in the gallery. Next week's service will be led by Reverend Deborah Bond Upson. It is entitled Only Connect, Prose and Passion, Self and Soul, Eros and Agape. We live as if we are separate, divided by religion, race, ethnicity, language, country, state, sex,
gender, body, and spirit, by reason and desire, by the love we earn and by the love we freely give. But the poets and the mystics have always known otherwise. So come hear what that's about. We are in pledge drive season, so I have a little something to tell you about that. Just lost my page that I've been holding all this time. Ta-da! It's magic! I found it! Generosity is what allows a community like ours to exist and flourish. When we people share our time and care and talents and financial support, something remarkable happens. Together, we create something greater than what any one of us could create. Everything that happens in this congregation, worship, music, learning, social justice work, pastoral care, and community gatherings, is made possible by the generosity of our members and friends. In a magic show, it may appear that something comes from nowhere, but we know the truth. The magic isn't in the hat. When each of us gives what we can, something wonderful appears, a community that cares, grows, and thrives together. And that is the real magic. Okay, so there is a dinner that's happening on Saturday, April 4th. It is the Magic of Generosity Pledge Dinner, and it is from 4:30 to 7 p.m. And we ask that you please RSVP to Catherine Graham by Friday, March 27th. So that's coming up. Please plan to come. There is a children's program that will be provided. And Mary has our hats. The magic can begin. And Marie, I think, has a quick announcement for us. Social justice announcement, very important.
Hi. As you probably most of you have heard, there is a No Dictators March on the 28th. And as a First Unitarian Church of Honolulu, we are going to be a part of that and join with the other groups. What we want to do is start at Thomas Square, and then there is a 17-minute walk to the state capitol. It is not a march in the street because they didn't get permission or whatever, so it's on the sidewalk, so no big banners, but signs are okay, you know, signs are good. We'll be joining with others. We must meet here at 8:30. If you would like to go as a group, and in other words, you don't want to go there and park, you'd rather go as a group, please let Francine or I know immediately, like that word, or by Tuesday, if you're going to go with us, because we need to know what size vehicle to have. And that's become iffy about this vehicle. But anyway, we're working on it. So since Southborough are Jewish sisters, brothers that live here, they will be here on Saturday. So we are going to bring the van, load it up by 8:30, and be out of here so they can do their service and parking and all that they need to do. So we have to take them into big consideration on that. We will be dropped off at Thomas Square, get it together. The driver will park the van somewhere wonderful, and then bring it to us at the Capitol to pick us up. Is there any questions about that? Is that kind of clearish? 28th, next Saturday. And as most of you know here, it's called the No Dictators March, not the No Kings March, but it's the same as the one nationally, only we call it No Dictators in Hawaii. We have a driver. I'm reading through all my notes. Okay, so I hope to see a lot of you. There are a few t-shirts in the gallery, very few, If you have a t-shirt, I don't care what era it's from. There are many versions. If you have a t-shirt, please wear it. Yes, ma'am.
For those who plan to come here to the church,
Oh, yes.
parking. So I talked with Southpaw and they asked me to talk with the Sister Temple store. And they have said that we can park there.
So we can park at Temple Emmanuel. We shouldn't park here.
Correct. So, and if that isn't enough, then we go up to the congregational church because, excuse me, because, the temple has a relationship with them for.
Right,
over
right.
a couple of
And the one thing we please don't do is we don't park in the cul-de-sac. We like to keep our neighbors happy, and they don't like us parking there, so we don't park in the cul-de-sac. Okay? Are we good? Oh.
What is the time if we were to just meet down at the park?
10 o'clock. Oh, wait, no, wait. Oh, it went away again.
The actual march is at 10, but there's going to be a brief program starting around 9:30. There's going to be an additional program / rally at the Capitol itself.
Because of course you can go to the Capitol and either meet us there or be by yourself. But this is that with several, TIA, the Interfaith Alliance of Hawaii, and there's several organizations doing this march to the Capitol. ACLU, you're right. And for any of you who didn't know, do you know the ACLU started here in this building? Yay! Okay.
We have a designated meeting point at Thomas Square for those who might be coming at a different parking center.
And if we're, the other designated, and this is a little bit, if you've been there, outside the rotunda. The whole thing's in the rotunda, but we'll meet right outside to try to find each other. Where's the designated meeting at Thomas Square? Oh, you said it, I didn't know. So please let,
Look for the shirt.
there you go. And by the way, they come in, oh, we don't have one. They come in rainbow and green and blue, and like I said, we've got many versions of our shirt. The most recent one being the rainbow tie-dye. Francine, anything else? But please let Francine and I know if you want to meet here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Took a really good snow.
Thank you. That seems like an important thing for us to be a part of. Yeah. Okay, so I just want to take a second to acknowledge what Sarah said, that this is her last time with us, her last time to be in the pulpit, in her position, working with us on these important matters of hope for us. So she's not quite gone, but going. And so we would like to honor that as a goodbye. So I think we have a lay. We also have a song. So there's a little square piece of paper in your order of service, I believe. And we are going to sing Aloha Oi to our beloved friend, Sarah. Can I say more?
I'm going to give Sarah this lay partly to honor a teacher. So one thing I want to share with you all is that Sarah was very pivotal to me engaging in my first interim ministry. And when I became an interim minister, I called Sarah as the regional contact, and she coached me to help me find the right fit for my baby ministry. And then it was Sarah that actually supported me in developing my conflict ministry. It was Sarah who was the first person I worked with in a congregation to do restorative justice work. And it was Sarah who was one of the first UUA colleagues that I worked with who apologized to a congregation on behalf of the UUA for the mistakes that UUA has made sometimes in serving our congregations. And it's Sarah that I've seen do that here as well. It's Sarah that I've experienced moving with humility, and it's Sarah who I've experienced practicing what she preaches when it comes to composting the mistakes we've made, returning again and again into relationship. And Sarah, I am so grateful. I am so grateful for your role in my ministry. I'm so grateful for what you bring to our congregations, and they are so damn lucky in Southern California to have your experience in ministry. Thank you. Thank you for helping be part of the healing of our communities and the healing of me as well.
Thank you so much for making me be here.
Before we sing Aloha Oi, I'd like to also extend a mahalo, as Sarah was our confident advisor and coach with the search committee, with our very difficult task trying to settle with the minister. So on behalf of our search team, Laurel Zeri, our captain, Dan Carpenter, Nan Porterfield, Janice Davis, and myself, Gabe Turganko, we'd like to say not only mahalo. Mahalo means thank you, but we'd like to say mahalo nui. And when you hear mahalo nui, it comes from a deeper place. It comes from the heart. So mahalo nui for coaching us through the most difficult task with a wonderful outcome, settling with Reverend Deborah Bond Hobson. So we're going to sing Aloha Oi twice, and Annie? Just the chorus twice.
I will always hold you in a fond embrace. Mahalo nui.
Okay, one more song, people. Our song of peace, so we can hold hands and be together some more.